How's your car run? We never could go wrong. We never could go wrong. We never could go wrong. We never ever could go wrong.
Hey, do your thing. Hey, do your thing. Hey, do your thing.
I'm guessing you're the real one!
Fresh out the house, got the beat on suicide as I ride up and down Martin Luther King Drive. Standing tall, looking down on the bloody boys snitching all day. I look around on the clock. Camilla Silver and Snell, 5 pound on the block. Ain't you ever seen a young player clown in the club? Ain't nothing to a G gang, spit fluid, man. Do so overstored music. Money, my shit is earned. And Tuesday is ocean blue. 28 sit over you, Ferrari drops a rover slew.
Alright people, today we'll be talking about one of my favorite games growing up, and that will be Telltale's Walking Dead. So, right here, if you haven't been to watch the other episodes, essentially this is a series where I go over old school games that, you know, I used to play as a kid. And the reason why I used to play all these games wasn't because I really liked them or anything like that. It's more just because I didn't even have the cash to play anything else. So I spent a lot of my adolescence playing games from way back when. Like while everyone else was busy hanging out playing PlayStation 3, Xbox One, playing games like Street Fighter 4 and so on and so forth, I was stuck playing Resident Evil 4, Devil May Cry 3, and Halo 1. So my gaming life sucked. But honestly, I've started to realize that that time period had some of the best games I've ever played. And I always like getting the chance to go back and look at those old games to see, does it hold up? And today we'll be covering Telltale's Walking Dead Season 1. Honestly, this was one of my favorite games growing up, and surprise, surprise, Kenny was actually my favorite character. That soon changed when I played it now. But I quite enjoyed playing the game as a kid, and now that I'm an adult, I wanted to go back and revisit it to see, does it hold up? Does it still have that same level of fun that it used to have for me? And you know, my findings were rather interesting. Okay, let's start with the basic stuff. The concept. Okay, so Telltale's Walking Dead is based off of the comic book series of the same name, and also TV show that came out roughly around the same time. This game came out during the zombie boom of the early 2010s. During that time period, especially after 28 Days Later, Walking Dead, and by some extension, Game of Thrones, the idea of the undead coming back to life and haunting us had been such a huge concept. You would see it everywhere. Everybody wanted the piece of the zombie pie. Hell, even Maze Runner were already starting to take in the ideas of zombies as well. So as you can see, that time period was very, very big for zombies. And Walking Dead Season 1 was easily top tier. If you ever went to anybody who wanted to talk about anything zombie related, Walking Dead Season 1 would probably be on that list when it comes to some of the best. Coming out in April 2012 was the best time period for it. Like I said, this was the biggest section of the zombie boom, and my goodness did they deliver. So the story is basically about a character named Lee Everett. You see, Lee, he was a history teacher, or more accurately, history professor. And one day, whilst going home, he had to come home early so that he could fetch something, I believe. I can't exactly remember the details, but essentially he had to return home and fetch something from home, and surprise, surprise, he finds his wife in bed with the senator. And in a fit of rage, he ends up killing the senator, and that ends with him being sent to prison for manslaughter. Which, in my opinion, you should have shot them both, bruv. Anyway, so the game begins with Lee being sent to jail. He's on his car ride, he's already been convicted, life is over. right? And that is when a zombie gets in the way of the vehicle tumbles over and flips. So zombie shenanigans ensue. Break out of the car, notice a dead body, find out that it's not so dead. You know, typical welcome to the zombie universe type of spiel. But honestly, at this time period, it was still fresh, so it's hard to be upset at them for it. Anyway, after taking out his first zombie, that's when he sees a little girl at the far hill. He decides to start following them and see if he can catch up. And my goodness, does this man keep stumbling. Like, I get it. You just got out of a car crash, but my dude, walk. Anyway, you end up eventually following her, and you get to her home, and that's when you get attacked by a second zombie. And in all honesty, I gotta say, this section is probably one of my favorites in the entire game, because it introduces the idea of a true zombie apocalypse so perfectly. You see, we as the crowd know exactly what's going on. We know the world is screwed, but Lee is just catching up. He is still in the early phases of that oh shit, everything's fucked moment, you see. But they introduce it so perfectly. You start off entering the house, seeing it barricaded and dark. A home that was probably so light and warm. But now look at it. It looks like a shelter at this point. And then you also get the chance to listen to Clementine's parents' voice messages, hearing how things started simple. You hear about her father getting bit by someone, and you already know that he's dead. And slowly but surely you can hear the panic and things getting worse. And that final voice note really hammers home that the world is gone.
Not there.
3 new messages. Message 1, left at 5:43 p.m.
Hey, Sandra, this is Diana. We're still in Savannah. Ed had a little incident with some crazy guy near the hotel, so we had to get him back to the ER and have it checked out. Anyway, he's not feeling well enough to drive back tonight, so we're staying an extra day. Thanks so much for looking after Clementine, and I promise we'll be back in time before your spring break.
Message 2, left at 11:19 p.m.
Oh my God, finally. I don't know if you tried to reach us. All the calls are getting dropped. They're not letting us leave and aren't telling us anything about Atlanta. Please, just leave the city and take Clementine with you back to Murrieta. I've got to get back to the hospital. Please let me know that you're safe.
Message 3, left at 6:51 a.m.
Clementine, baby. If you can hear this, call the police. That's 911. We love you. We love you. We love you.
It's over. There's nothing you can do about it. This is your new reality now. And honestly, I really love the way they did this. It's so unbelievably perfect. Anyway, zombie babysitter, kill it, and eventually meet the best character in the entirety of Walking Dead. The entire series, in fact. And look, I'll put it this way. I love Atreus. I love that kid. I love Ellie. Great person. Would wipe out a whole medical station for her. But Clementine, I'm gonna put it this way. I will blow up the universe just because some dude looks at her the wrong way. I will get unreasonably upset to protect this child. Like, the level of the level of hatred I would feel to anyone who even looks at her the wrong way is unfathomable. Hate hate barely describes the amount of anger I would feel to anyone who does anything to this kid. Now, to be fair, I only ever really played the first, second, and last game. I haven't played the third game, but I look forward to giving that a try when I eventually get to it. Maybe I'll do an actual Let's Play rather than just a video game review. In fact, yeah, I'll do both. But anyway, to put it simply, I love this child and I will do anything for her. Anything. So, the basic idea of this game is that it's a choice-based game. Most of the gameplay revolves around you doing dialogue, talking to people, finding objects, and making decisions. And that's the key part, making decisions. That's where the entire idea comes from. It's a story-based game. You're essentially playing an episode of Walking Dead. You understand? That's why they call them seasons, not games. That's why they call them episodes, not chapters. You understand? Anyway, so as the game continues, it's now you and her, and the entire idea is that you are raising this girl and preparing her to survive in the apocalypse, whether that be with you or without you. You need to make sure that she is able to live at least some level of a life without you. Alright, summary time. So, the summary of the game simply goes like this. Now that you are playing Lee Everett, you will be going through different sections of the world, meeting new characters and seeing how they react to the apocalypse. Some of them will react well. They will adapt very quickly and find themselves actually living a decent life within the apocalypse. Other people will crumble, fall, lose themselves, become monsters that they never knew they ever could become. And what I like about this is that the first season really explores the different ways people react to the apocalypse. Some people, they rise above it. They still keep their humanity. They still choose to become who they are. You know, they still choose to stay who they are. Who they were before the apocalypse started. Other people, they crumble. They don't know how to handle the universe that they live in now. So they lash out. They become monsters. They harm others. They don't allow fairness and kindness to live within their heart and would rather choose to destroy the good instead of destroy the bad. You know? And like I said, it does this concept very well. As you slowly meet people, you start to realize just how differently people react to the apocalypse. And the best part is you decide how Lee reacts to it. Not just Lee, but also Clementine. You are teaching the two of them how to live in this world. What kind of people will they be? Do they help others? Do they steal? Do they harm? Do they kill without remorse? Do they kill with remorse? Do they care about human life, or do they completely disregard it? Everything you do and say shapes who they are. And that's something I truly appreciate. You get to play your way. You get to make your choices. It's only unfortunate that those choices don't matter too much. But honestly, I have a pretty decent idea about what they were going for, and after watching a different YouTuber explain it, I think I have a new perspective, but I'll share that later. Okay, now when it comes to old games, there's always going to be an issue with graphics. It's a given. But one thing I gotta say, if you ever want people to play your game 20, 30 years in the future, make it animated. Do not make it 3D. 3D graphics age. They really age. As time goes by, it's not going to look that great, right? But 2D graphics, cartoonish graphics, they age like fine wine. And Telltale found the best kind of graphics to go between 2 and 3D. And that is their comic book look, with hard sketches and some characters actually looking like crumpled paper. And it's really good. And it aged so perfectly. If this game came out, people would probably still say it looks good. In fact, like if this game came out today, people would still think it looks good. That's just how well put together it is. Because the bad parts, the weird, odd looking pieces, you can just easily interpret that as, oh, it's supposed to look like a comic. And it really does. And that's what I really like about it. Every character has this sketchy look to them, and it brings this gritty feel to it. The only real downside is that you only have a few models for each of those zombies. I think total maybe 6 or so. Yeah, 6 or so different models for zombies. But when it comes to the character designs, they're also very, very good. And I genuinely appreciate what they did with this. Like, I gotta say that when it comes to the graphics, they really knocked it out of the park. It's very, very beautiful, and I look forward to seeing how the other games held up over the years. Okay, so now here's the big thing. The gameplay. Honestly, the gameplay for the Walking Dead series works for what they're trying to do. Like, I can see the idea, right? You aren't supposed to be playing an action game. It's a choice-based game. The camera is going to be put in angles that are most convenient, to be cinematic. It's not always going to follow behind you. And also, whenever you're turning around, it kind of swings around a little too much. It feels a little bit too loose, which can make it a bit difficult to play in faster paced scenes, but they do fix this in later games, if I remember correctly. And yeah, so honestly, I do like with the gameplay, I can appreciate what they're trying to do. And they mainly have about 3 major gameplay mechanics. That'll be 1, essentially the walking around and movement. You go around, you find objects, and it doesn't really affect the story. It's more for flavor. You are the one who decides where to go and what to do. It's your choice. You don't have to go and find obscure object number 75. You understand? It's all completely your choice. The only thing it will do for you is just add some more dialogue, which in some regard I appreciate, because it means that once again you get to do what you please. It's all about player choice. You have the freedom to decide whether or not you have the freedom to decide whether or not you want to go hunting for those objects, and that's actually kind of cool. But also at the same time, it feels pointless on replay because, well, you've already done it, so why would you do it again? Like, the dialogue. Personally, I'm a completionist. If I play a video game, like even Elden Ring, I am actively collecting every single object I possibly could. Major object. I'm not going to be collecting wheels of cheese like people do in Skyrim. No. But I actively collect as many important items as possible. I redo entire quest lines just so that I can get those items. Even if I know I'm never going to use it, I want them. I'm a collector. So whenever I replayed this game, I would always get all the items. And even in this playthrough, I went ahead and got every single achievement, which honestly is stupidly easy. But yeah. So it does feel like a bit of a downside that you don't get anything out of it. Like, I wish that maybe they would allow you to have more dialogue options according to what you find or what you ask, but that's just not what happens. The only dialogue changes that you get stem purely from direct choices that you have made before. So a character might bring up something that you once said. Maybe in season 1 you say that this character's hat looks ugly, and then in season 4 when you start complimenting their hat, they'll start saying, but you said it looks ugly, what are you talking about? Stuff like that. But I wish that they did that with more exploration. That way you'll feel a bit more incentive to go looking for objects, and then maybe a character will comment on it, or maybe you'll get a new option that somewhat changes the game. Maybe a certain character gets to live a little longer. And then you have the second piece of gameplay, which will be the choices themselves. And honestly, on your first playthrough, the choices have weight. you really feel every single decision you make, and you try to be as logical and objective as possible. You're going to make mistakes. In fact, my suggestion for you when you're playing this game, play it purely from ignorance. Don't know anything about it. Just walk straight in and start playing. That's why I'm trying to keep this review as vague as possible, while still giving you the essentials to understand whether or not to try the game out. When it comes to decisions, essentially, right, I do feel a bit of a disappointment when it comes to it, because yeah, you feel the weight on your first playthrough, but after your second and third, a slow realization starts to creep in. But honestly, like that realization won't hit until maybe your third or fourth playthrough. But before then, yeah, the game is really, really solid, and honestly, you should give it a try. And then the final gameplay mechanic will be quick time events. Now, I've never really understood why people have such a disdain towards quick time events. I always find them like entertaining. Maybe it's just me, but I actually do enjoy playing quick time events, and it feels like a great opportunity to have a cinematic fight, you know? And Telltale does this really well, because just about every single fight ends up being a quick time. There are only like a few scenarios where you're not playing quick times, but you're playing actual gameplay, like shooting sections or yeah, mostly just shooting sections, honestly. But otherwise, no, it's a quick time event, and they do it well. And you won't get a lot of them. If you don't like them, you won't get a lot of them. So you can relax about that aspect. Anyway, that's the gameplay covered. Okay, time for the jank. Honestly, the jank when it comes to this game stems purely from the fact that your decisions in the grand scheme of things don't matter. And honestly, that's kind of sad. Like, you make a choice-based game where your choices mean nothing. That's really backwards, you know? Like, it sucks that although you make one decision, like, let me just give you an example without spoiling anything. So, in one of these games, so one of the choices that you have to make in the game is about whether or not you're going to tell the group that you're working with that Lee Everett is a criminal, that he had killed someone, right? And this seems like a pretty big decision. In fact, they go on and on about how you making this choice could really affect the game, would really affect whether or not people are going to trust you. And you somewhat take this seriously. You know, you're being told by people who care about you that, hey, this is important info. People need to know. And if they find out the wrong way, they're not going to trust you anymore. It feels like a weighty choice. And then you decide to tell them, and yeah, they decide to trust you. Feels great, right? But if you decide not to, you would expect them to no longer trust you. Maybe they'll start slighting you. Maybe they'll kick you out of the group or something like that. Or maybe your decision will get overruled, right? But no, they barely react. In fact, all you really get out of it is just a few snarky remarks about, you know, not trusting people, and that's it. Hell, even when you do tell some of them react a little bit negatively and tell you that, hey, these decisions, they are going to really affect how we treat you, so, you know, keep that in mind. But that never comes up again, you know, because obviously circumstances change, but these decisions in the grand scheme of things didn't change anything. But also at the same time, now that I've had a different person's perspective, I found a new respect for that aspect. But anyway, after watching Alex Jander, I really hope I pronounced his name correctly, after watching his video on season 1, I've kind of got a new perspective on it. I used to feel really irritated by the fact that your decisions mean nothing. Like, I felt like I was lied to. But now, well, I look at it like this. Sure, I can decide, for example, whether or not to save Kenny's child or save Herschel's child. And when I try to save Herschel's kid, it doesn't matter, he dies anyway. But if I save Kenny's kid, Herschel will be upset with us. But also at the same time, if he's not upset with us, he's going to kick all of us out. But if he is upset with us, then he's definitely going to kick all of us out. You see, so in the grand scheme of things, it doesn't matter which character I choose to save, because I'm going to get the same outcome. And sometimes these choices aren't as cut and dry. For example, there'll be two characters where you can decide whether or not to save them, and whoever you save will actually live on for a short period of time, but dies at some other point. Right? And that's all fine and dandy. Like, if back then it used to bother me quite a lot, but now it doesn't. The way I see it now is, I mean, sure, this character, they're gonna die anyway, and my decision didn't change anything, but my decisions do allow me to choose who I am. It allows me to decide what matters to me, you know, what kind of Lee Everett am I making here? Because think about it, if there was a right choice, quote unquote, to make, well, then I would probably try and choose that one, wouldn't I? I'll try to make that decision over and over again. Hell, in some cases, people would probably watch videos telling them what to decide, which choices will save which people, you know? Because I can see people doing that actively with games like The Quarry or Dead by Daylight. So not Dead by Daylight. Until Dawn. Right? Like, I see people making videos tutorializing decisions, making sure that you constantly make the right ones. And that works because that's the kind of game they're going for. It's survival horror. It's about how your decisions can save people. And I personally do wish Telltale went that route. But also, I can appreciate what they were trying to do. Even if they didn't do it as perfectly as they should have, I can still appreciate it. And essentially, they want you to freely decide who Lee is. Who does he care about? Who does he love? Who is he willing to sacrifice and who is he willing to save? It's your choices. And it's purely your choices. Because at the end of the day, they don't change anything. So you can make those decisions freely. If you decide to kill one character, another character is going to betray you. But if you save the character that you're supposed to kill, they're still going to betray you. But you are the one who's deciding that. Are they betraying you because they're a bad person, or are they betraying you because you wronged them? You understand? That means that it's your choice. Like I said, I still don't like this all that much. But now having this new perspective provided by Alex's channel, I can appreciate what they were trying to do, and although I still consider it jank, I respect it. The biggest highlights for the game are the slow moments. The times when it's just you and Clem. The times when you see characters relaxing, enjoying themselves, having a laugh. Thing is, this world is oppressive. It's dark. It's messed up. So when you have those quiet moments where you just enjoy something as simple as the breeze of the wind, the giggling of your friends in the distance, the times where you can have simple conversations about having a beer, about your favorite baseball game, things like that, it hits hard, really, really hard, because you know that those moments are fleeting. They won't last very long. Pretty soon you're gonna have to go back to the stress, back to the grind, back to attempting to survive.
Hey, Clementine.
Haley.
You didn't accidentally break a flashlight, did you?
No. Did Duck say I did?
No. Did Duck break the flashlight?
I don't think so. He's just always blaming me for stuff.
Like what?
Putting a bug on his pillow?
Did you do that?
Yes.
What's this thing?
Daddy said it's called a salt lick.
Yeah, but don't lick it. It's gross.
Did you lick it?
I don't know.
But you have this moment where the world feels just a little bit normal. It's ironic, really, that it's the apocalypse that saved Lee's life. He would have been in prison, and with the way he is, you know, prison would not have done him any favors. It would have been a rough life. But having this chance in the apocalypse, he had a chance at freedom, a chance at laughter. Honestly, sometimes I wonder if he would have preferred going to prison over this. And I kind of wish that they had explored that, but I'm happy with what I got. And really, it is those slow moments, those times when you are just relaxing and enjoying yourselves. And honestly, the game does these moments so well because they're few and far between, but you remember them, you feel them, you enjoy them. Hell, sometimes they'll even give you a small, slow moment during a mission, in the middle of a portion that's supposed to be difficult and stressful. And that's actually pretty awesome, in my opinion. Because it's those moments that make you really feel like you are in hell, that you are really living this zombie apocalypse. And then there's that level. And for me, that is the section when you are going to help Glenn. My goodness, does this section piss me off. Okay, I'm going to be covering a bit of spoiler territory here. Yes, Glenn from the Walking Dead series and comic books shows up in this game. But I digress. So, this section, right, is all about how Glenn needs to collect objects from a motel, and unfortunately the motel is covered in zombies. There's no way for him to get through, and you need to somehow quietly take down each and every single zombie, right? But here's the part that makes it so complicated. You can't take out any of them without the proper tools. You don't have a knife or anything like that, so you need to find some sort of object that can kill them. Which makes me wonder, why didn't they fetch one at the hardware store? I'm sure there's something sharp in there. Sorry, not the hardware store, the pharmacy. I'm sure there's something that could have worked there. But fine, let's just pretend that there's no chance. There's nothing that they could have collected, right? Then comes the actual gameplay itself. You see, you have three major issues. You have section 1. There's a zombie right in the middle of an RV. It's busy eating. If you look over towards it too often, it'll notice you and eat you. Section 2. Right behind the RV, there's a bunch of zombies headed your way and looking around. You need to take them out too. And then there's section 3. There is a zombie that is laying close to a car, and it is dazed, but easy to take out. Now, you can't take out any of them without an object. So you go exploring, and eventually you find yourself looking at a screwdriver. But the screwdriver is inside of a car, and the car is locked. You can't break the window. There's no way of doing that, right? So now you have to find some sort of way of breaking this window and getting to these zombies. So I'm like, okay, I'm sure there's an option to go somewhere else and find a brick or something. I mean, it's going to be loud, yeah, but I mean, what other option do I have? Then the game tells me, no, I can't go anywhere else. I have to stay within this section. I have to find something. So I found myself going back and forth, over and over and over again, only to later on, after 10 minutes of looking around this place, to get to this one corner and find a pillow that's slightly out of frame. So I pick it up and I'm like, Okay, so what am I supposed to do? Smother them to death? Have a pillow fight? That would never work. And that's when I started exploring a little bit again, and I got to the zombie that's dazed and realized, oh, they want me to put the pillow on it and then they shoot. Do you have any idea how loud that will be? Guns are incredibly loud. Putting a pillow on a gun does not muffle the sound. That is not how that works. It will still be loud as hell, much louder than finding a brick and breaking that window. You know, the logical option, which still would be loud and stupid. Yes, it would still be loud and stupid, but not as loud and stupid as covering a gun with a pillow and shooting a zombie. I honestly, when I got that option, I chuckled and I was like, oh, Telltale, you're trying to be smart. You're making me think, oh, I can just cover the zombie with this pillow and then shoot it, and then we end up getting eaten. I'm not going to fall for that. I'm not going to fall for that. There has to be something else.
Let's follow my lead. Stay right behind me.
That was sick!
My disappointment is immeasurable and my day is ruined. Anyway, so yeah, eventually you take out the zombie, you get a spark plug, you break the window, so on and so forth. Everything else goes rather smoothly. But for me, that section really annoys me. And no matter how many times I replay it, the way you kill the zombie is so unbelievably stupid. I keep forgetting that that's how you're supposed to do it. So when I replayed it recently, I forgot. And when I got to that section, I still chuckled. I was like, no way. There's no way that that's the way you're supposed to kill the thing. I mean, come on. It's going to be so loud. I'm probably going to get eaten. My goodness. Okay. So, time for an overall review. And I gotta say, overall, this game is pretty damn good. Like, honestly, despite everything I complained about and all the little nooks and crannies that irritate me, it's a very, very good game. It holds up very well. The graphics are amazing and beautiful, and honestly, I would more than be happy to actually pay full price for this game. And I do understand some people aren't willing to do something like that. And I get it. I fully get it. But personally, I would be more than willing to pay full price for this game. And I genuinely love it. It is a great game, and I look forward to playing the other parts. It holds up very well. Your choices, although not mattering, you still feel the weight of them. And that's a hard balance to strike, you know? That despite your in the grand scheme of things, your choice is not really affecting anything, you can still feel that you made this decision. You can still understand that you made this choice. You killed that character. You saved that character. You traumatized Clementine, or you protected her from this world. You taught her how to survive, or you failed her as a parent. These are your choices, and despite them not mattering, even if you don't teach Clementine how to survive, you still feel that you failed her if you didn't. You know, because she gets taught by someone else, but now you're no longer that big of an impact, and you feel that. Yeah. And that's what really makes this game beautiful. At the moment, you can actually buy the definitive series, which will have the entirety of Walking Dead, all 4 seasons, 400 days, and Walking Dead Michonne, providing about, give or take, 50 hours of gameplay with 23 unique stories and situations. And honestly, that is a very, very decent deal, considering all the stuff that you're getting. And right now, Season 1 on its own is about 239 Rand. I'm talking in Rands here. So whatever currency you use, just translate it as best you can. But yeah, so all of them are actually pretty decently priced. They're not crazy priced. And if you aren't sure that you want to play the game, you can always get season 1 for free. You can so not season 1, episode 1. You can get episode 1 for free and just see how you like it. Right. But anyway, I really do hope you enjoy the game and you give it a fair chance. All the best.
I did it!
Yeah, you did. Good job.
I just pretended they were walker heads.
Good. Just like you should.
They're not walkers, though.
No, far from it. But you know how these things work now. We'll graduate you to walkers one day.
Okay, I feel good.
Not so scary, huh?
Nuh-uh.